All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist. Actually, it's getting on to the evening. Good evening, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. In this video, we're going to talk about how it is that you can stop blocking the success in your life. Now, many times I find when I discuss economic topics with people and I try to give them a better understanding of what it is that's taking place with the underlying economic forces so that they can make the best and most appropriate decisions for themselves, I find a lot of times people tell me that I'm kind of clueless to politics, clueless to the idea that there is manipulative powers of men who take advantage of the situation, take advantage of the poor, keeping people in a position of poverty and debt-ridden slavery. This sort of mindset, when it comes to understanding how it is that the economic environment is unfolding, generally puts a lot of people in a position that says, I'm being damaged by everything that I see. And so when I think about what it is that I hear from people who say, man, you have no idea what it is that's really going on out there, you're just a friend of the Federal Reserve, or you're clueless about politics, then I think to myself, man, what are you doing with your information that's going to better yourself? Like, every single moment of every single day, we are giving thought to something, right? That thought produces energy. Now, whether or not you believe it, that energy then goes out there to the world. And now, what do you think is going to come back with your thought energy if you are putting out the idea that everything around me is horrible, disgusting, and is tearing me apart and forcing me into a bad shape? What do you think that it is that the subconscious is going to go out there and seek? What is it that you feel is going to happen to your existence when you have this sort of belief? I mean, could you imagine any other thing going on? Okay, well, hold on one second. Let me take it back. Let's say, for example, you're a 13-year-old kid. Let's just use our imaginations for a minute. And as this 13-year-old kid, it's summer and we really don't have anything else going on except for playing video games with our friends and playing all the latest video games and talking about video games and playing these video games and competing with the video games and doing all these video game stuff. Do you think that they would have any kind of thought energy about anything else other than playing the video games? Probably not, right? They're 13-year-old kids. Why would they have anything else to think about? And now I know for a lot of people that might seem like a ridiculous thing, but you have to now understand that this 13-year-old kid is living in success. He's not living in failure. Now, you live in failure if you're thinking, man, the New World Order is coming after me. So don't think about like, okay, I have a complicated life and they got the simple life and they get to play video games and I have to pay bills and do all this other stuff. Think about the energy that you're sitting in. You're sitting in a failure energy. While this kid's living in a successful energy, enjoying his life. Which one do you want to live as a miserable person, or do you want to be in a person who says, man, I'm really succeeding and enjoying everything that I have going on in my world? Because you can have it at any given moment. Just as easily as that 13-year-old kid who's enjoying playing video games every single week, all week long with his friends all summer long, you can enjoy your life just the same in the same fashion. And that's really what this comes down to, is you have to stop blocking the success in your life. You have to look at the world in a way that says, I give it meaning, that says I'm going to benefit from everything that I learn, everything that I see. See, no matter what, you're in a constant state of success. Just think about it like that. If you're in this constant state of success, how can you be anything but successful? I asked Sarah just a few minutes ago before I came out here. I said, am I successful? She says, sure. I said, at what? I mean, there's plenty of people out there who've done a hell of a lot more than I have. I mean, I got a YouTube channel that's fairly popular and I'm able to, make some money off of it and do some things that I couldn't do before without the YouTube channel. So I guess the YouTube channel is somewhat successful. Or really, is that the case? Or is it just that I'm happen to acquire a degree of success? Because you're always in a degree of success. See, sometimes when you fail, you feel like it's the worst thing in the world and there's no success that happened from that. But really, you have to admit, you must have learned something from that. If you failed at something, you generally learned a lot. Like, you were successful at learning. Your degree of success that you were hoping for is much less than what it was, but you were still successful. Right? And if you look at everything in this fashion, no matter what it is, then you will always be in a state of success constantly. Most people will never do this. Most people will look at everything that they have done in their life and excuse it, reason it, blame it on something other than what it is that they have done or the meaning that they have given it. And so knowing that you live in a constant state of success, if you choose to look at it that way, because even your failure is success, then you will be in a constant state of success that will bring you whatever successful experience that you were hoping to receive in your life, because you're doing it, right? You're moving in it. For example, okay, let's just take it back, because I know this sounds hippie, crystal grip and hippie. I know people love it when I say that. Let's just take it back for the reality, right? I started a YouTube channel with absolutely no experience in economics from a financial advisory point of view, from a banking point of view, from a family of wealth point of view, from a business point of view, from any kind of point of view other than the working class studying economics point of view. That was literally the only thing that I had. And so when I started the YouTube channel, I never expected anything to come from it, because I never really thought about it being a successful YouTube channel that would gain subscribers. That's not what I believed. What I did think is that if I put out YouTube videos, that I would get better at YouTube videos. I did believe that. And it's like, if you do anything, you're going to get better at it the more you practice. So I knew if I put out videos, I would probably get good at it. But when I was putting out videos, I never expected anybody to watch them. And so as I had to come up with excuses and reasons and a belief within myself to why I would want to do this, right? I came to my own decision. This is going to be my personal journal. And with my personal journal, I'll share my experience. When I started talking about this, people started to join in. They really enjoyed what it was that they were seeing. And I thought to myself, man, this is really cool. I'm actually building up an audience. I'm building up a subscriber base. I'm building up a YouTube channel, like a real YouTuber. Wow, when did that happen? The day I started the YouTube channel. See, like people say, you have a successful YouTube channel. That's really cool. And I'm thinking, do I? When did that happen? I mean, I don't know about the successful part of it. I've been working on it the entire time. I've never really thought I've changed much about how it is that I'm doing the channel, trying to just put out the best content I can for what it is that I'm doing here. And I never really thought about it being a success. When did that happen? It probably happened day one, just at a really low degree. I was successful at putting out my first video and my second video and the third video and gaining the subscribers, and the success just kept building. And the degree of success just kept getting bigger and bigger. Now, if I looked at it and said, man, that comment really hurt. That comment is tearing me down. That comment says that I know nothing, that I don't belong here, that I shouldn't be doing any of this stuff. And if I was to believe that comment, then I might actually quit my channel. Maybe if I even comment back to it, I'm starting to take on a belief that I'm not successful at my channel. All of a sudden, I'm realizing that even the things that I'm saying and communicating out there, at times, I'm bringing on a lesser degree of success. It's still successful, right? I mean, the YouTube channel's there, the video is there, the comment is there, I'm here. That's a success. What I'm doing here is now different, because if I'm arguing, if I'm getting negative, if I have this meaning that I'm putting behind it that says I have to defend myself, all of a sudden here's this negative energy that comes along with it, the degree of success starts to fade. But it's always that degree of success that I'm in. If I'm putting out a YouTube video, it's a success. Whether it does good or bad, that's up to the energy that I put into the video, how much it's appreciated, and whether or not it's informative and useful. All that comes from what it is that I decide to bring to that video, and hopefully I bring something that is of quality that you're going to enjoy, and with that, I get rewarded for it. Here comes my success. It's easy to think about it in the sense of There's bad out there that holds me back, right? All these negative comments keep me from actually being able to make quality videos. Can you imagine me saying something like that? It's the negative comments that keep me from having, a good comment section that everybody really enjoys taking part in conversations with. Like if I was to be in this sort of energy, then in trying to put that out there, can you imagine what the videos would be like? They would be horrible. Huh? It's the fact that I want to bring a conversation that everybody can enjoy and bring their ideas and thoughts and all that other stuff. And even if they disagree with me, that's fine. I don't really care as long as they're doing it respectfully. And if you're doing it respectfully, then hey, we can all sit around here and disagree with each other if we like. And that's part of having, building up an understanding of your position and your beliefs. A lot of times I find that people will say something that I didn't really think about. And when I start to really take it into an idea, I'm like, man, this is really a deep concept that might actually change the way I'm feeling about something. Or it might just confirm or validate what it is I am thinking. Right? Because all information is good information. There's never bad information. I hear people say, oh man, that particular news agency, they just don't do nothing but spit this whatever. And they talk about how horrible this particular news agency might be. And I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, you're giving it thought energy that totally gives it power. With this thought energy that gives it power, they're successful. Because now that you're talking about it, you're taking also somebody who is listening to you and now giving them even more thought energy with the idea of what it is that you're sharing with them that you're trying not to share. Like you don't want people thinking this way, but yet now here you're spreading, don't think this way, don't think this way, don't think this way. More and more people who are thinking not to think that way, guess what starts to happen? You see the idea that comes along with this, how powerful your thoughts are and what it is that you're doing with them. Yeah. I mean, take it back to the YouTuber. If you're putting out YouTube videos, you're a success. There are bad YouTubers and there are good YouTubers, but regardless, if you're putting out YouTube videos, you're a successful YouTuber, right? Now, somebody's opinion of what a successful YouTuber might change, but ultimately you're living in a degree of success at just really low level if you're a bad YouTuber. But if you're a decent YouTuber, then you might have a degree of success that people would then look at and say, yeah, in my opinion, you're successful. And it all comes down to what it is that you're thinking and feeling and believing. I don't know how much I can try and push this out there. See, being an alcoholic, it was easy to look at the world in a negative attitude. It was super easy to do it that way. And it was awesome to drink because for a short moment there, you could actually let go of everything that you saw negative in the world and you can enjoy life for just a minute, listen to music, party, hang out with your friends, do whatever. It was short-lived. It would always come back, and sometimes it would come back right in the middle of your drunk. Right? But you're always blaming, had the absolute belief that it was never anything that you were doing and it was something else that was driving you to do this. It was so weird. You would justify that. It was never you. It was never anything that you were doing, and it was always something else that was driving you to behave this way. This isn't my fault. Right? It wasn't my fault. I can't handle it. Like, this drug, I can't deal with it. Right? Every time. And so blaming, it was easy because alcohol forces you almost to blame something else so you have an excuse to drink. And now as an alcoholic, I know during that time that I was holding myself back in so many ways. I was literally building the walls that prevented my degree of success from elevating. Because of all the excuses and reasonings that I would put behind wanting for me to then justify me drinking because I wanted to drink so bad. And it's almost scary to think about, like how bad I really desired it, would come up with the money for it. Never really thought how bad of a situation I was in at the time. Just thinking, man, if I could just get through this, then it would be good, and then be on the other side of that and everything would be cool. Never realizing there was never another other side of it. It was always right in the middle of it, always. always right in the middle of it, no matter what it was. If it wasn't this, it was something else, and you're having okay, once I'm through this, I'll quit. I mean, I don't know how many times I said that. Well, once I get through once this, the over, right? Excuse. I did that all the time, and I know it. And so once you have let that go, you let everything go. You let blaming everything in your life. You stop blaming it all because you don't know exactly what it was that you were blaming to drink anyway. So you got to stop blaming everything. Okay? Take ownership of the decisions that you had made that put you there. That's hard. You know how hard that is to own up to? To like then look at everybody around you and say, man, I effed up really bad. And I admit it. And everybody looks around and it's like, yeah, we all saw it, but you know, you knew it. You know, we could have said that you're an alcoholic. You said it. You knew you were an alcoholic. What were they going to say? What was the family going to say? What was anybody going to say? Nothing. There ain't nothing that anybody can say to you. You're the only one who can make the decision to change it. So, right. Easiest way to stop drinking is just like, okay, well, I can't come up with reasons. I got to stop the justification of it. And most of the time, when you're justifying it, is because you're blaming something else in the world. You're blaming something out there. My boss, my job, my wife, my kids, my husband, whatever, you know? You got some reason. I seen it down there. I don't know how many times that I've experienced the stories of people talking about how depressed their life is and how crap the world is and how shit politics are and how everything. It just goes on and on and on. Right? And I think to myself, man, that was the majority of the conversations that I carried. You know how very few conversations I had with people hanging out at the bar thinking, okay, here, man, let's think about a next business idea deal that we can come up with so that we can, really can grow in success as people and network and do all that other stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. Most of the jobs that I got, like the day jobs that I have gotten, I got them like kind of hanging out there at the bar and through word of mouth. So it's a great place to network. But not really necessarily to network with motivated people who really like to go out there and do business, because if they were out there doing business, they wouldn't be sitting there in the bar. Right? Now, you can sit at the bar at times. You can enjoy the company at times. You can realize that at times this is the right spot at the right time, the right situation. But then there's the times that you're there all the time. And then there's a huge difference inside of that. Right? Success is easy enough. You just have to know that you're in it. Most people don't know it. And that's what it really comes down to. They just simply just don't know it. I will talk about this video, and even still in the comment section, they will give me reasons, excuses, and beliefs on why it is that they are not successful in the things that hold them down. And I have to agree with them. They are absolutely right. And instead of looking at those things and giving it meaning that says, how do I use these deep, hurtful, impactful, heavy things, depressive things that are holding me down, right? How do I look at it differently? Because if I continue to give it this meaning, then I know that I won't be successful because I'm not living in the energy of success. I'm living in the energy of failure. What do you expect to come back from that? Yeah. See, think about it. Like, here it is. I'm in this YouTube channel. I have given up alcohol, right? It's been years. It's been years. I'm still working on trying to figure out what it is that's going on in my nugget that got me, to drink in the first place. And I'm trying to get through all this stuff. And I'm putting out these YouTube videos, and it's growing like crazy. And I'm thinking to myself every single day, I'm like, man, what the hell is going on here? Why is this happening so fast? Why is this working so well? Why is this doing this? I just don't get it. Like, I didn't plan for it. It was just doing it. And I thought to myself, man, well, what's the next thing? I mean, that's the biggest thing. What's the next thing? What's the next right thing? I mean, how hard is it to do the right thing? The garbage needs to take out. You can sit there and look at it, or you can take the garbage out. Huh? Or you can wash the car, or you can sweep the floor, or you can go and fill out a job application, or you can go and make a YouTube video, or you can do something. You can do anything. Anything is the next right thing. You can just look around and just see it. Maybe it's literally picking up your shoes is the next right thing, and then move on to the next right thing. and think of it as the next right thing, because that's a constant state of success. Always. You're always doing the next right thing. How can it not possibly be successful? I just put my shoes away. That's a success, right? Everything's a success. Every step I'm taking, brushing my teeth is success. Combing my hair is success. Putting my clothes away is success. Those are the simplest things in the world. But you look at it in this fashion, and you constantly look at it in this fashion, and you don't look at the world in a depressive state, and you don't give it meaning that says, yeah, but all these men, all these billionaires, all these other things, you just want the Fed to succeed, and you start blaming in this fashion. I guarantee you, you will fail. You will fail because you're in failure energy. That's exactly what it is. Just admit it to yourself. Look around at all the people who fail, and look at all the people who are successful. I'm not saying successful people don't cast blame at politics or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. When you go to places like the rebel capitalists, and you go to the Zubers meetings and stuff like that, you're not getting a negative view of the world. You're getting a view of encouragement, of ambition, of like opportunity and possibilities. Like, that's what you get from those particular events when you go to them. And so when I think to myself, why is it that the energy of rich people, even when they talk negative about the government or politics or something of that nature, like if they have a negative overtone, sound to it, it's not really negative energy that you're really feeling from any of it. It's still positive. It's just like, hey, this negative thing is happening, but guess what? You can now know about it so that you can do something with yourself. That's really what it comes down to. It's like, yeah, it's heavy. Bang, get hit. Whoa. What's this? What did you just tell me? How do I deal with that? Cool. Right on. Now, then you got a whole group of people out there who say, oh, no, it's all about ready to crash. It's about ready to fail. You have no idea. You better get into whatever, crypto or gold or guns or whatever it is, that's going to save your life. Because if you don't do that, you're going to fail. You just wait and see. It's about ready to happen. Right? Now, that negative energy, don't get me wrong, guys. Like, I have guns, right? I know how to shoot. I know how, like, I'm really good at it. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I didn't even join the military, is because wasn't really that smart to pass any kind of knowledge thing that's going to get me anywhere other than being in a field with a rifle, because I can shoot a rifle really well. Right? So, yeah, no, not my game. Not really into it. Not going to try. So, I understand survival. My wife, she can anything. You bring her 100 pounds of any, you can bring her any amount of anything. It doesn't matter, as long as she has enough of the supplies to can that stuff up. She can can anything, anytime, any amount, doesn't matter. Right? That's pretty cool to have that sort of level of confidence and understanding about preserving food, that you're willing at any given moment, at a drop of a hat, to say, yeah, you can bring me anything of any amount. That's pretty cool. Most people don't have that skill. You can go out there, have the survival skill of shooting a deer, right? But then what are you going to do? You know how hard it is to preserve a deer if you don't have the skills to do it? You have literally like a day, right? You got a little bit over a day to deal with that. Cook the food, maybe a couple of days, and then it's over, right? It's gone. These skills most people don't appreciate. They don't think about what it is that they were going to do in a real apocalyptic time, when the power completely goes out and there's absolutely nothing. That's hard, right? And so when you live in this constant state of this thinking, it's a negative feeling. Maybe somebody feels secure by doing that. But when I think about the need or the reasonings for living in that lifestyle, and then at any given moment at the cutting edge of about ready to jump into it, like you're like at any given moment, every news article is about ready to deploy the backpacks and the bug out equipment and everything else. This is I mean, you might be successful, but to what degree of success are you at? I mean, is this like a monetary success? I mean, I guess if you had a YouTube channel talking about it, then that would probably be somewhat successful. But just to live daily life like that, I mean, think about it. Is this really a successful life? I mean, I guess it is to some degree. And maybe for a lot of people's opinion, that might be very successful. But to me, I'm thinking, well, I don't know about that. Like, I want to be able to pay my bills on time, be able to travel around, be able to eat the food, be able to do the things like a normal person. Like, I want to own a house and have a kids, family, and then I want to retire and travel around. Like, I don't know. Is that too much to ask? I mean, is it difficult to get that? Yeah, it is. But is it too much to ask? No, not really. Right? It's pretty simple stuff. I don't need fancy cars. I don't need any of that stuff. All I want is what would kind of be that idea of an American dream, and I don't need to have fancy stuff. I can have modest house in a really rich area, but I mean the house itself really isn't that fancy, right? It's a really, really basic house. But in the location that it's at, it's just like it's stupid expensive. Yeah. Success? I guess. It's kind of a burden too in a lot of ways, but I don't look at it as a burden. People try to. I mean, I saw it all over the comment section. They're like, dude, you're going to be so underwater. You're going to hate yourself for doing that. You just totally ruined your whole life and everything about it. Made the same mistake twice. What an idiot. You know how many times I heard that one? Oh my gosh. Right? Those people making those comments, they have a very hard time succeeding because their level of success is very low, right? Like if I had actually failed, they would be like, look at my success, I'm way up here, right? But that didn't happen, right? So their level of success is very low, and that is unfortunate for them because that's the energy that they live in. It's just like, I hope you fail, right? And and so to me, like I'm thinking, well, I've never really met rich people who do that. Like I don't know like all the rich successful people that I know I don't think I've ever heard one of them say I hope you fail. I've never heard them talk anywhere near a negative attitude like that ever about anything. Like that's not even in the realms of conversation is something like that. you know and so I find it quite amusing when I hear when I do hear it from the negative side, from essentially from the poverty failing side of things, or the less successful is really what it is, because you're in a constant state of success, just the lower degree of success. So when I hear that, that's literally what I think about, is just like, man, this sort of behavior and conversations and talking is what the low level, you know poverty stricken people would say and conversate about, that literally keeps them there. Yeah. And it's easy. It's like, guys, you wouldn't believe how easy it really is to be in a position in which that you have the ability to pay your bills on time. You have no idea on how easy it really is. The problem that most people are facing is that they make it complicated. They make it hard. They don't believe in their own success. They don't believe that they're being successful. Right? They think that they're failing, and they want to blame it on somebody else, and they want to prove that. They want to prove it to me, they want to prove it to you, and they want to bring everybody into that, proving that it's somebody else that is causing this pain and misery, and it's proving it to them. Right? Well, I sit over there and I say, no, it's not. I've had that same thought. I was on that same parallel, man. I was on that same pendulum, swinging that same energy. Right? Wondering why it is that I couldn't seem to get ahead. Why it is that I had such problems. Why it is that I was constantly drinking. Why it is that I was blaming other people. I looked for it all over the place, and I found it. I found it deep in those rabbit holes of the conspiracy-minded people. Holy crap, it was right there. And what's sad about it is a lot of it's really true. Right? And that's what's really sad, is that when you dive into it and you do come to understanding what it is that's taking place in the deep levels of like the anyway, it gets really deep and it gets really scary out there. And the problem that really most people end up facing is there's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing, like literally nothing. But there is things that you can do in your life. Right? And what those things that you can do with your life is literally looking at the information that somebody lit off a big one. They're still lighting fireworks off around here. But that thing is that you can look at the information, the data, and the stuff that is happening around you, and give it meaning that it can be useful to you. That it is not going to be a burden. Like, I don't know how many times somebody says, well, you can just blame like liberal politics, right? That's the reason. And I'm thinking to myself, that's your level of success. Like, to me, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, great. Point the finger at whoever you want. There's a hole in the boat and we're sinking. Yeah. And you want to point the finger and blame somebody. Now, I don't know about you, but I can swim. I can swim pretty good, but I think it would be better if we all try to get this boat back to shore and then we'll figure out who put the hole in the boat. Right? I think that would be a better idea. But we can sit around and talk about who it is that put the hole in the boat, or we can start bailing the boat out. We can start figuring out what it is that we can do here. Figure out what it is that is going to be successful with this boat getting back to shore. And if we can't, we're going to all have to swim. And that's going to be a difficult task to go through. Looking at it in this fashion is the best way. People go and look at homeless and they say, okay, man, we got this homeless problem. And they throw a bunch of money at it. And I say, okay, well, wait a minute now. That's not the reason why the homeless are homeless. They're homeless right now because it's almost impossible to have a day job and make it in this country, especially in places like Portland, Oregon, where it's almost impossible. One of the highest cost of living in the entire nation. And so when people say, well, these worthless homeless people, they just don't, and it's like, no, they're not worthless. And they're not just, they're homeless. They can't do it. So now let's blame liberal politics on it, or we can understand it for the underlying economic forces like the Cantillon effect. Which one do we really want to do? Let's blame liberal politics. Their fault. Negative energy, low level success. This is the Cantillon effect. This is what happens when you separate the rich from the poor as dramatically as what has taken place here in the Pacific Northwest and other coastal cities. Once we see it in this fashion, then we say, okay, well, you can blame liberal politics, but there ain't nothing you can do to change the situation since it's not necessarily the liberal politics that are doing it. Now, the reaction that liberal politics has is lame. It didn't, like, I said it then and I say it now and they'll say it again in the future. All the money that they throw at it is throwing it at the symptom to literally make it go away. They try to throw money at it to make it go away. Like, whatever they do, just get out of my sight. That's what they are doing. And there's no other way to look at it. And I know that's a negative view of being when you think about it. But then again, I'm not one who's sitting there trying to figure out how it is that they're going to deploy this money to be undoing the underlying economic forces that are causing the problem in the first place. So when I look at it, I think to myself, there's nothing I can do to change the liberal politics. Nothing. I can go and do my part to try and figure out why it is that these homeless people can't get off the streets because it turns into a magnet. Understanding the problem for what it is now has me in a position that says, okay, well, maybe there are some ideas that we can take place to hopefully give these people an ability to then secure some of their stuff so they can go to work. Because that's the major problem that they face by being on the street is that they can't abandon their stuff because everybody throws it away or takes it or whatever happens to it. They don't have it anymore and it's their entire world. That crap pile, that stuff that they have in that cart is everything to them. It means everything. And they can't let it go. And when people say, oh, it's just a worthless bum, and I think to myself, that's exactly the problem that they're going to face. Nobody is going to be there, ever. So there ain't nothing that they can do. No matter how much money you throw at it, you're not going to fix it. You can make it go away. You can send it over here and over there and disappear it. But it's not going to change anything that's going to happen as far as the inequality that is growing. And the level of success that's going to come from these people being able to get off the streets literally is going to have to come from their own doing. Their own recognizing their plight that they have now faced. And if they are deep into drugs and deep into disease and deep into homelessness, it's going to be a very difficult task for them to ever have anything in their life. Knowing this is the case is now giving me the idea that says, hey, something should happen, and it's not going to happen by anybody out there creating any kind of organization or anything else like that. It's literally going to come from the effort of you as an individual doing your part. Nothing else can do it. It's hard to be in a position in which that helping homeless feels worthy. Most people don't want to try it. Most people don't have any reason to give it any kind of look or thought or anything. They look at it as trash or scum or disease or just, I don't know, give it whatever you want to call it. And I think to myself, you know how close to many people have, how close they come to that? How close in their life they were to at least give it some idea of respect that it may have happened to somebody so close to you, maybe even yourself. You know, to understand that this is not a situation that is to be ignored, and it's not something that you can just throw money at. And there's nothing that you can do to blame, right? It's the only problem that is going to get worse, that everybody will they will argue and fight and believe that it is going to be something out there that can be done, never realizing that the underlying economic forces really is what's driving it. Right? So as I talk about these negative aspects to the economy, as this homeless thing gets worse, I think to myself, it's not something that you can stop. Why fight it? Right? Like, you can fight it. You can try and vote for somebody who's going to inflict tariffs that are going to bring manufacturing back to the United States and have some sort of return to Renaissance. Do you really honestly think that you're going to be able to compete against somebody who is sleeping on the ground when it comes to returning manufacturing? There are so many people out there who are going to manufacture so much cheaper, with less energy, with cheaper transportation. Right? We're not in a position in which that we can bring manufacturing back in a profound way. But we can still be successful as individuals. So we can understand that this situation isn't something that is going to be easily dealt with. For most people are going to look at it and say, well, you just want the working class person to suffer. You just want them to die. And I think to myself, is that really honestly the idea that they are throwing at me? Is that I want people to feel this way? Because I honestly look out there and I think to myself, I'm not communicating to anybody other than the working class. And I'm saying, man, this is going to be a tough road. And if you're hoping or dreaming or expecting it to be something that your grandfather experienced, I don't think that's going to happen. I went out there and I tried to acquire what it is that I needed in my life. And I tell you, it is not something that I think that any day job could ever possibly do on its own. I have to put out so much effort to have this. And then people say, well, you just expect people to work that hard for this? Yeah, I do. Like, if I have to, you have to. Yeah. I mean, it ain't that great. I don't have fancy furniture. I don't have fancy cars. I don't have fancy anything. I don't even have a fancy house. There you go. This is a normal single-story ranch-style house. And I think to myself, man, the level of success that I have, I feel incredibly successful. Because it's all about the meaning that you give it in the first place. Anyway, half an hour, 40 minutes into it, man, I can ramble. Jeez, 40 minutes? I'm going to quit. I'm going to go, guys. I'll see you. All right, people have no heart, no love in their hearts. Yeah, that's really true. And just think about it. Just think about the energy that you were carrying at the time. Like, when I think about how it is that, you know, all this effort and stuff like that to help the homeless is worthless, and I'm thinking to myself, that's not a negative energy that I'm feeling. It's really not. It's a lot of care and love and hope for those who are suffering the most out there, to hopefully grasp the idea of what it is has taken place so that they can better themselves. The longer they're there, the worse it gets. And I really don't expect them to have any kind of difference in their life. I don't. You know, I really hope that people do recognize what it is that's causing the situation, because they're not going to be able to change it. But if you see it, you can do something about it for yourself, and that's what's really going to be useful and helpful to you. To try and come up with an idea that says, "Hey, man, let's figure out what it is that we can do to make other people behave differently." I think you're going to be on a long, difficult road. That isn't something that I would like. I don't know if that's something that's even possible. You think about the negative energy that puts into the thoughts of like most of the stuff that you're looking at on Fox News or CNN or anything else that comes from it. The blame and reason for fault and all the other stuff that comes with it, that's all negative energy that does not put you in the level of success, right? Take it all and own it for yourself. If you're in a bad way, figure out why. If you're depressed, I mean, it took a lot for me to figure out what it was that's going on, right, in my head, what it was that was causing me to drink. And a lot of times, I mean, I don't like admitting it. I don't like admitting it to myself. I don't like admitting it to my family or friends or anything else that goes on out there, but I also don't like hiding things. I also like being incredibly authentic as much as I possibly can. And if I make people unhappy with the way that I'm acting and behaving and I'm really feeling honest and true to myself, I like it when that happens, because I'm thinking to myself, good, I'm not at least being a people pleaser, right? Because that was the problem that I had faced so long ago. Most people don't even realize that they do it. They don't even realize that they are dancing around like idiots, not behaving in their true honest self, because they want everybody around them to be happy, and so they just like, hey, I just don't want to disturb the boat. I don't want to rock the boat. Right? And then they find horrible depression in their life from it. Many people need a lot of support to overcome depression, homelessness, addiction, etc., even if it means just having a quiet place to live. And I agree. And I just think to myself, there's really, like, I mean, I would love for there to be a place for everybody to go to and all that. I know it ain't gonna happen. You can do the best for your children. That's like, if you can get your children to be productive members to society that can support themselves on their own, I think you did great. Yeah. And if you want to take time to go out there and reach out and try and help somebody, to at least give them the benefit of the doubt that they don't want to be there, right? Because that's what a lot of people want to say, is that they want to be there. I never really met anybody who wants to be there. Like, I've met people who kind of traveled around a little bit and seemed apparently not necessarily upset about being homeless. But, I mean, I guess if you were to offer them a bed and a house and a kitchen and food and, things like that, I bet you most of them would be like, oh, yeah, I'd much rather prefer that than just walk around on the streets. So it's pretty obvious that most people who are living on the streets most likely don't want to be there. Other people just make the best of it and probably don't mind it that much. Right? So I guess there's different degrees of that. And I guess there is probably a few of the people who do want to be there, and that's exactly the life they want to live, and there's nothing wrong with it, and they can have that for themselves. I ain't gonna blame them. Just don't make a mess. uh, in fact, once the big inflation hits from Trump, I'm going to 2 hours a day. Um, hmm. I probably have to read more into that. All right, come on, Trump, raise the property values again. All right. Does Cantillon offer any solution, or is it just the way it is and there's nothing we can do but to fight it yourself, and that's it? M Rider 777, I think that's a really good question. I think that's one that we should really discuss in a deeper idea, because this is really where I think a lot of times when you're discussing, or people are discussing economics, they like, I will talk about the underlying economic forces that I've learned from Cantillon's essay, things that I've observed, Triffin's dilemma, the bullwhip effect, all these things that happen out there, and then I'll get them, hey, so whoa, they'll stop me. Just give me a solution. Just tell me what it is that we can do about this. Whoa, come on. Like, you're giving me all this stuff. Like, and I think to myself, why are you demanding that from me? right? Like, why can't you just understand the underlying economic forces for what they are? Why do I have to have a solution for you? Like, I mean, what if there was no solution? Are you mad at me because there isn't one? Or are you mad at me because I can't come up with one? And if I did come up with one, you'd probably be mad at me for that anyway. So, like, where is it that we need to discuss this? Is there a solution? Yeah. Don't buy into luxuries. Right? He even said it, when the money is in abundance, the king or the legislation should withdraw that money from circulation and hold on to it for emergency purposes or whatever. Just keep it from moving in to luxurious experiences. But the more that money starts to flow, the more luxurious experiences begin to be had. And then the problems start to exist as the money starts to flow into foreign production. Domestic manufacturing leaves, and then people, start to lose their way of life, and the inequality starts to kick in, the Cantillon effect. And so when you say, like, is there a way to fix it? Yeah, there is. There's absolutely a way to fix the system. You guys want to hear it? You want to really, really know what the way to fix it? And I've said it a million times, so I'm sure you've heard it, right? This is what you have to do. You have to cut back on all your luxurious expenses. No new cars, no debt issuance, right? Can't take out any more new debt. You have to work incredibly hard to pay off all your existing debt and not take out any more, right? So you got to pay off it all. Once you have it completely paid off, then you start moving into investments, right? Return on capital investments, savings, anything that deploys it into some sort of investment of return, right? Not into fancy cars, not into like fancy paintings or anything like that. I'm talking production. I'm talking redistributing that back into producing, manufacturing type of investments or savings in general. You do that for probably, I'm going to assume it's going to be multiple generations. So at least 2, 3 generations of people who live this way. Never once ever taken, like, no debt, no anything like that, no fancy cars, none of that stuff, right? It's going to be a horrible experience for most people to go through. Retirement funds are going to be absolutely devastated. There's not going to be any enjoyment. People are going to be crying their eyes out. They're going to be begging the government to be doing something about it. It's going to be a lot of tough love and whoopings and hatred and riots and just chaos for most people to go through, especially in the earlier days. And then once they get through that painful experience, okay, well, then we can talk again. We'll talk about, like, being a productive nation that can actually produce, that's going to send that production out there to the world and be in that sort of situation where we can start raising our standard of living again. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to set my great grandchildren up for that experience when they don't have any choice in the matter. Right? Now, I also don't like setting them up to have a painful experience from the inequality that's about ready to take place. So either one of these things is something that I'm not really looking forward to my great grandchildren going through. So now I'm trying to position myself to deal with any situation that happens. And so therefore, either one of these things that takes place, whether it happens to be something completely off the wall that I don't even think is coming, I'm hoping that I will have positioned myself well enough that I can at least deal with the situation accordingly. Now, again, time will tell, and who knows? I mean, again, like, who knows, right? I mean, I can't, say I got this. I know, it's just like, no, of course not. Everybody is, going to end up going through an experience that, whether or not they have positioned themselves right, time will tell. And so I just think about it like that. I don't know about everybody else, but I am one that is not sitting around thinking about the collapse. I don't. It's a negative energy thought pattern that is not going to do you very well. Have I positioned myself to deal with the collapse? I sure have. Right? Why sit around and think about it? Why don't you think about things that are not collapsing, because we're not collapsing right now? And if you want to look for evidence of it collapsing, you're looking in a negative view that is probably most likely going to prevent you from ever doing anything that is successful. Or you're going to be very low level degree of success because you're basing your success on somebody else's failure. All right? Yay, America. All right. Ain't nobody making land. No, that's for sure, Wayne. Ain't nobody making land. But the one thing I kind of worry about land, and I'm not trying to disagree with it because I would love to own a bunch of land, is that you are still limited into the ideas of property rights, and you have to have government reliance unless you're willing to stand there and protect it, which, very well could be done, but it's not necessarily something that I would want to do. So, like, I'm okay with land so long as I am trusting the government enough to protect my property rights, right? Because I don't want to have to try and protect it with a shotgun. If that's the case, I'm going to try and do something different. That's a very hard asset to hold on to, when you have, a lot of people are about ready to take it from you. I didn't really have any family support, but my friends had an empty bedroom he wasn't using, and he said, "You're going to come and live with me." So I lived with him for almost a year before he finally left. Okay, let's go to this one. The Bullet Traders, Yui. How did you feel at 100 subs versus now? At any point on your journey, did you want to quit? What pushed you to keep on going? Oh, that's a good question. So yeah, I would say at 100, yeah, when I hit 100 subs, it was absolutely amazing. In fact, it was probably it at that moment when I was getting to 100 subs, it was like it was really overwhelming. I had a video that had like 1,000 views, and I thought to myself, "Whoa, that's way too many people. Like that's I don't even know. Like I can't handle that." You know. And so, really early in the early days, I wanted to quit, like right away, as soon as it started getting popular, and and I thought to myself, it was just like, well, I'm going to get so popular, people are going to know who I am, and I'm scared of that. Right? Like literally, I said that to myself. I said it out loud. I mean, and like and people kind of thought that that was funny, and I'm like, okay. So anyway, people were like, they all know who you are anyway. You grew up in this town. It's not like you're a big secret or anything. You call bingo down there at the local tavern. You doing, been working at these lumber yards. It's just like it's not a very big town. Astoria only has 10,000 people in it, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I'll do it. And I was really uncomfortable in the early days when it was getting popular like that. So yeah, in the earliest days, like around 100 subscribers to the first probably 500 subscribers, I was like, I was really nervous about having the channel. And then after 500, I was just like, wow, this is really growing, right? And then it got to 1,000, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this thing is going to get monetized. Like, holy crap, I'm going to have a monetized YouTube channel if this keeps doing this. And then it did. And then it was just like, from that point on, I was just like, I never really thought about the money though. Like that's what's funny about it. It's just like I did think about the money at times, but in the earliest times, in the earliest days, I didn't really think much about the money because it wasn't that great, right? When you're doing a YouTube video and you first get it monetized and you only get like 1,000 views, like you're lucky if you make, a few bucks, you make $2, $3, $4. If you're really lucky, $10. I mean, like, not all of us YouTubers can be like the George Gammons and just have like an instantaneous, 100,000 subscribers and be, awesome at it. So, when it was building up and it was going, it was getting monetized and it was slowly, kind of building it up. I remember like when I got to a point where I was making like $10 a video, and I thought to myself at that point, I'm like, holy moly, wow, $300 a month. This is so amazing. I bet you I'm gonna get out of debt. I bet you I can get out of debt now and maybe even like buy a car. Wow, that's gonna be so cool. Like, that's the feelings that I had in the earliest days, and I never really thought about it much after that, right? As far as, like, I never got jazzed up about it. Um, because I guess I already kind of had a plan for the money. I just didn't really know it. Like I was paying off debt. Like I knew I had to pay off my debts. Boom, 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 paying off the debts, got that all done. But as the channel kept growing and it was just making more money, the only thing I was really thinking about was saving the money. Like I wasn't spending the money. I was just thinking about saving the money. And there was things that the family wanted to do and stuff. And so I was spending some of the money because, I mean, here it is, it's coming in. And it wasn't until one month that I hit a pretty significant amount, right? It was a lot. One month. It was like lumber was just like going crazy. Everybody was trying to figure out what was going on. I was putting out videos that were getting 50, 60,000 views a video. It was amazing. I was making a lot of money that month. And I remember like when it hit that high, I was just like, at that point, it did shock me. I was just like, whoa, wow, this is absolutely incredible. And I thought to myself, man, this is going to be so cool to get this every month. Man, I hope oh man, this is going to be so rad. And I started getting jazzed like that. I remember the feeling. I remember walking around actually feeling cocky about it. And I don't know, like I didn't like get knocked off the cloud or whatever, but I came to like a quick realization. No, that's what it was. It was George Gammon. George Gammon said, "Be careful when you make the money." How did he say it? Be careful when you make your first million because it'll bring out the worst in you. I think that's what he said. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something of that nature. He said it to me straight up. He said, "Be careful when you make your first million. It'll bring out the worst in you." And I thought to myself, wow, was that what happened that day when I made all that money? When I made that month where I did really well and I was, kind of feeling cocky and stuff like that? Is that the worst in me starting to come out? Like, is this what would happen if I had $1 million or something? Because George warned me. It was just like, he said it. Like, I kid you not, it was probably like a week after that. And I never forgot that. And I thought, don't worry about it. The money is the money. It's going to come and it's going to go. Some months are going to be good. Some months are not going to be so good. And, it just is what it is. You take the good with the bad. Just know that your efforts are useful and helpful and that you're going to get a return from your efforts and that those efforts will come at the right time, right? Or the return will come at the right time or the next right thing will come at the right time. You guys get what I'm saying? And, uh, and that's really how it's been for me. I mean, a lot of people, especially when you're talking like macroeconomics, when you're talking this level, people want to hear the information to make a lot of money. Like that's what they're listening to the information for. And I don't blame them for that. Like, I mean, that's essentially why I was getting into economics too, is to get a better understanding so how I can position myself. But I realized that making money is a lot easier than I thought. Right? And it was not so much like it's not so much like getting smart about money and investing in the right places and starting the right businesses. It was a matter of having the right attitude about money. That was the biggest difference. See, I've had months like I remember one month I did sponsorships. I did really good in ad revenue. I was kicking ass at work. I had all this stuff and I remember like this one month I made like $30,000 and for a guy like me, that's a hell of a lot of money. I mean, that was such an amount of money. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, I was like, holy crap. And then I got to thinking, it was just like, everything that I did to get it really wasn't that hard, right? Like, there was nothing really that hard. The sponsorship video was hard to do because I didn't want to do it. But the actual video itself was only 10 minutes. Like, how hard is it to make a 10-minute video? I mean, I've been rambling on here for an hour now, right? So it wasn't like the video was hard to make. It was hard for me to do it, but it wasn't hard to make the video itself. And showing up to work, I mean, I do that all the time. That wasn't very hard, right? And the places that I was making money on the side, it was just like it all did really well that month, and I just like accumulatively, it was just like, wow, man, that was just like absolutely incredible. And I haven't been able to achieve quite that level on, in a single month again. It was just that one time that it happened. But I realized at that point, it was just like, man, I try too hard most of the time. Like showing up for work is trying too hard. You can only put so many hours in a day. All right. There's only so many hours. Even if you're getting paid a hell of a lot of an hourly wage, there's only so many hours in the day to work. And so you're limited to your hours a day. But if you can find anything that is going to be some sort of passive income so that you can put out a minimal amount of effort or a short time amount of effort, maybe it's even a lot of effort for a short amount of time. It's a lot of hard work and dedication for whatever brief moment. But then to acquire a position in which that you have passive income, getting money while you sleep, I don't care how much money it is. If you can earn money while you sleep, you are going to be in a position in which that you are going to start being very successful. Right? Because if you can earn money while you sleep and you can earn $1 while you're sleeping, then you can earn $2 while you're sleeping. I know you can. You know you can. And then you can earn 4, and then you can earn 8, and so on and so on. And now when you have this sort of mindset and it's just like, I'm not limited, I'm only surrounded by abundance, I have nothing but opportunity, I am going to be really good at all this stuff. It's just a matter of time because at first it's awkward and weird and I don't know what I'm doing, but I will figure it out because failures are the key to success. And every time I fail, I am just ringing myself up the ladder of success. All right? It's easy. There's nothing to it. It's hard for most people because they just don't believe it in themselves. They fail themselves before they even begin. Right? And I don't blame them in that either because most of us have failed ourselves due to the way that we were raised. Like our childhood experience, we're a victim of our circumstance. I don't know, like even just recently, this is like it was kind of sad and I probably shouldn't talk about this, but it wasn't like I don't know the people and the people don't I don't know them, maybe they know me, I don't know. But I certainly don't know who these people were. And what it looked like was a mother, right? And she had like this 13-year-old kid. And now it's 4th of July weekend. It's, million people are here in Astoria because it's a touristy town. So it's just crammed and it's just chaos and there's all kinds of noise. And it's just like, you know, it's frustrating by the end of Sunday. Right? So I'm watching this mother deal with her 13-year-old kid. And I don't see this kid really doing anything out of the ordinary of being just what a normal 13-year-old kid does, wanders around, touches stuff, whatever, I mean, I'm Freddie, like he runners all over the safe. I'm like, whatever, man, just don't break anything, like that's my attitude. It's just like, what I mean, what's the worst that he could possibly do? He's a kid, right? Um, but yet this mother was really like frustrated and very like short with this 13-year-old kid, or this younger kid. And I'm assuming it's her son, right? It's with her son. And I just remember it was like as she was like kind of griping about it, saying like, I've had about enough of this. I'm tired of it. I can't handle it anymore. And then he's like kind of looking down in a way as she's griping at him, and she stops and he bumps into her, and she goes, and she goes, "Why are you standing so close to me?" Just like so angry. And I'm like, whoa, wow. And I thought to myself, wow, you know, the childhood experiences that people get and how it is that they look at the world, like this is their protector. This is the person that is supposed to be there to give them security and peace and like a sense of like stability and whatever, like to aggressively destroy that right there in this public scene where I can witness it. It's just amazing to me to actually to watch that happen. And I'm thinking, why is this occurring? You know? Like maybe the kid is a real pain in the ass and like he was just out there like, doing something that just created just like a total nightmare for the entire family to experience. I don't know. I mean, no, I'm just witnessing 30 seconds of this, right? But I'm also thinking, man, I can see the look on that kid's face, and I don't know, man. Like, is he going to be able to handle feeling safe in this world? Is he going to feel safe in his own body, his own being, his own mind, his own decisions? when this is the type of environment he grows up in. And I'm like, wow, man, I'm concerned about whether or not I'm raising my kids right. And I think, shoot, I can't imagine something like that, right? And people say, dude, you don't even know. You don't even know, right? See, this is the problem that most people face, is that this childhood energy that they carry, it's so impactful in their current subconscious, they don't even realize it. Built up from so long ago, believing on how the world actually exists in the way the world is. This treatment that people get when they're so young, this subconscious belief that they have when they're older, they don't realize why they get angry, why that person cutting them off has got them so enraged, pounding their fists on the steering wheel. How it is that even the slightest disagreement at work has got them, yelling at their coworkers for whatever reason. Right? Well, you ever had to fight for your existence, maybe you'd probably understand. Right? And, he was such a sweet kid, right? This is the type of stuff that most people don't realize is why they were drinking. So it's easy, guys. You just have to really understand that everything comes down to you. Everything does. Your understanding of it, your sickness, your health, right? Being able to pull yourself out of a depressive state, not even knowing why you're there. Some people may not even realize they're depressed. You ever thought that? They say, man, I'm just tired. I just don't feel like working on anything. I don't really want to go anywhere. I'm just really not just feeling it. I'm just kind of tired. Well, you're depressed. I was like, no, I don't feel depressed. I'm not upset about anything. Nobody said you're upset. Right? You ever done that? Success is easy, guys. You just have to live it. That's it. Right? What is success? Success to who? It doesn't matter what it is that somebody else says is successful or not. It doesn't mean anything to them. It means everything to you. When I think to myself, it's just like, you're successful at what? I'm successful at what? At doing what? Like going to work every day, showing up for YouTube every day, going to call bingo, doing everything successful? Yeah. Actually, yeah, I do feel successful. I'm successful at everything I do. In fact, I don't feel like I fail at anything, right? When I do fail, I feel like I learn from that failure, which is a successful experience, because I'm trying to give meaning to everything of being a positive aspect, something that I can use. Everything is positive, only if you give it the meaning of positive. Yeah. It's easy to say there's going to be people holding you down, but it's hard to say that, man, I can do this, I can get it done. All right, man, I've rambled on for an hour. Was that enough? You think you can be successful and still drink and enjoy pleasures? No, I don't, because I honestly think that my success is the pleasurable experiences that I get. So, no, I don't. Right? I think that when I actually enjoy my life the most is when I'm actually succeeding the most at what it is that I'm doing. Getting the lawn mowed, getting, the cars washed, getting, the house picked up, doing whatever it is that's going on out there. That's when I feel the most success. Right? I don't feel that when I'm drinking, and I do not feel that when I'm out hanging out. I do not feel that when I'm doing pleasurable things. Right? And so I do enjoy going and hanging out with friends, because I like to get away from what it is that I'm thinking about and working on and all that other stuff, so that I can enjoy conversations and have fun and laughter and tell jokes and stuff like that. And so I make it a point to do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it, because I find sitting idle, I find not trying to do something is what's unpleasurable for me. Okay? See, here's the thing, right? It's easy to do that too. it's think about it like this. Okay, so when you're watching like a TikTok videos, and the reason why people get addicted to TikTok videos and those little short videos and you're scrolling past them so fast is because what you are getting is a dopamine hit every single time you get one of those. That's funny. Oh, look at that one. Right? Again and again and again. Every single time you do this, you're getting another dopamine hit. So you spend hours doing this, right? Getting these dopamine hits, scrolling through these videos, and then the moment that you put it down, this sucks. Well, why don't I do the dishes? I can't even do the dishes. God, this is so boring. Right? It's because you've been addicted to dopamine for the last, 2 hours scrolling through all these videos. So now even the most mundane things that should just be something simple to do, you can't do it because it's just bored as shit because you've been so high on dopamine the entire time. See, this is where like being out gardening and enjoying the experience of gardening, this is really where the pleasurable experiences start to come in because your success of doing the sowing and the harvesting and everything that goes along with this whole gardening experience is the pleasurable experience that you get, right? The hard work is the pleasure. And that's where I find the pleasurable experiences is in doing the work. Because the more I do the work, the more pleasurable it feels. And now for a lot of people, it'll be like, oh, that's workaholic and that's all that other stuff. No, right? I take time. I take time to be with my family. I take time to go out and hang out with friends. I take time to do that. Most people don't take time to work, right? They go to work and they're like, as soon as that's over, I'm done. I ain't doing any more of that. And it's going to be pleasurable experiences from here on out. And I think, well, you unwind all your work. And that's just me personally. I learn to find pleasure in the work. I guess in a way I do spend my money because I refuse to work more than 4 hours a day. So I guess I'm already spending my money. I'm spending it on my time. Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, if you can get away with 4 hours a day, that's cool, man. I would only work 4 hours a day too if I could, But honestly, I wouldn't. I would work 4 hours a day doing that, and I would work doing something else. Like, what else am I going to do in the day? Like, you got all kinds of things that you can do. You can go and screw off all day long. Like, I'm good at that. I mean, I'll screw off. Give me the opportunity to go screw off. I'll do it, right? But I'm in a mindset of work. Right? Like, I mean, that's the mind that's like, no, there's always something that needs to be done. Just go do the next right thing. Just go do work. Right? And it's for a lot of people that feels like a slavery mentality. And for me, it's just like, no, man, I get it. I feel good. Like I get done mowing the lawn. I got a huge lawn, right? I got a huge front yard. It takes forever to mow it, right? And it's not like it doesn't take forever. It's not that bad. Right? But at the end of it, I'm tired. I'm sore. Like I'm like, oh God, I'm huffing and puffing because I've just been out there walking around for the last hour, and it feels so good, so good. It's like, man, that feels so good. It feels so good. I'm out there, I'm standing there with like, I got my drink, and I'm sitting there, and I'm looking out there at the lawn, and it's all nice and cut, and it's clean, and it's green, and it looks awesome, and I feel so good about it. And the neighbors are driving by, and they're looking at it too, and I'm like, that's right, it looks good, don't it? Right? Like, how do you not get pleasure off of that? That's like, see, simple things, super simple. I don't need to be why complicate it, right? I already got to do this for 2 hours. I can, I mean, I was not a victim. I was born with white privilege, as they say. Well, that's cool for you, man. I mean, I mean, I don't know what is white privilege. I mean, I guess some people, I don't know. I grew up in like, here's the thing. I grew up in Astoria, and everybody's white. I mean, I don't know, like it's starting to change now, but when I was a kid, it's like, I don't know, percentage 95 percent. I don't know. Like it's just everybody's Scandinavian up here. They're all from Sweden and like Finland and I don't know, all those areas up there. That's where all these people are from, right? And it's in like, I don't know. I'm going to say it's just like it rains a lot up here, so I guess those people like it. I don't know. So I don't understand. Like, I don't understand racism in the same sense that a lot of other people. Like, I had to be taught. There's people out there who hate other races. Would you believe that? And it was just like, well, we wouldn't know because we didn't have any other races to experience, right? You know, it was like, and it was so that's sad. Like, I grew up in California when I was younger, so I mean, you know, but until I was in like the fifth grade, yeah, sixth grade. So it's just a whole different experience there. Most people have a very different cultural experience growing up, right? And so, anyway, I don't know what white privilege is. I mean, I was just like, you know, I saw, I mean, this is pretty freaking messed up white people. So I don't know, I tell you, those people didn't have anything. You know, they didn't have nothing. All right. 112-hour work weeks paid off. I'll go back and do more. 5 years. Mill writing is fun. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, would you blame a guy if he was just like, hey man, I'm just gonna sleep in my car, I'm gonna shower down at the gym, I'm going to, you know, live as meagerly as possible, I'm gonna earn as much income as I can get, and I'm gonna buy a few rental properties and I'm gonna live on those properties and not pay anything to live there and make everybody, you know, pay my existence, and I'm gonna do that in 5 years. Can you like would you look at that person and go like, "Damn, dude, I hate you," but you would hate him because you're really proud of him, right? You know, because you wish that you could have done it, but you wouldn't really hate him. You'd be proud of that person. You'd be like, "Man, that's amazing. What a great deal." But yet, if you look at somebody who, you know, might have 50 properties, who's living high on the hog, and they're like, oh man, he shouldn't have that much. You know, to me, I'm thinking, well, no, the same reason and the same capabilities that gives the guy to sleep in his car and earn a bunch of money for 5 years so that he could buy rental properties is the same experience and freedom and opportunity that the guy who has 50 rental properties is doing. If you limit one, you'll limit the other, and that's the problem that you'll face. That's why I don't want to go into that road. I would much rather just be happy that everybody is successful in what it is that they're attempting to do. How long am I going to be out here for? I'm really rambling on here. All right, you are teaching deep spiritual principles to those that are invested in a better life, and I have gained some wisdom from listening to you share the lesson. Well, thank you. What is it? Alabaster. I don't have my glasses out here. I appreciate it. And and again, like, I'm not even trying to teach you guys anything here. I'm just trying to share what it is that I had experienced throughout my life and what it is that I feel to know be true in what it is that you can do too, right? Like, it there's two things that I feel when I see a comment that says, dude, you're wrong. Everybody's screwed, right? Whatever you want to put in the blanks there for description of that kind of title of a comment, right? But I look at that and I think, man, no, we're not. We're absolutely not. If a guy like me can acquire even a position like this, I know it's possible for just about anybody out there, and I know not everybody can have a YouTube channel, but I work this YouTube channel like it was a second job, and I know people could work a second job like it was a business, right? And start a business. So there's so many opportunities out there, and people don't take advantage of it. And when I see comments like that, I think to myself, yep, there's your competition. Those people, that is your competition. Think about it. They're not a competition at all. I mean, if they were to try, if all those people were to try, think about how hard it would be, right? But those people aren't trying. Think about it. I mean, I look at that and I'm thinking, okay, well, you're just proving more evidence that there is no competition out there when it comes to doing what it is that I'm doing, because here you are looking at this in a negative tone with a negative aspect, believing that it's all about ready to fail. With that failure mentality, you are no longer being successful. All right? And so for me, I look at those comments and I think, yep, I'm doing the right thing. All right, I'm headed and see you guys, whatever. These are the people who are positioning themselves on the bottom side of the wedge, like literally positioning themselves there. Define success in the progress realization of worthy ideal. I heard this as a kid. It stuck with me. Define success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Yeah. Oh, come on, Simon. You're trying to help people understand the system and position themselves best to avoid the pain and misery. Yeah. I would hope that my information does that. I would hope that my efforts is going to do something like that. I don't, like I said, guys, when I come out here on this channel to share my experiences and everything, and I share the information that I have, I share the links. Like, when it's my opinion, when I'm talking from the heart, when I'm talking, stuff like this. It's just like, I mean, there ain't no proof or anything. It's just my beliefs and whatever. But when I'm talking the economics and I'm laying down the evidence of it and I'm sharing those links with you, that's for you to go do the research. I mean, I shared my opinion, but it really requires you to go and look at what it is that I've shared, to either validate or disprove or whatever the information that I have provided, right? And to internalize that for yourself. To just listen to the videos, you're literally just taking in my opinion of it, and I mean, although I think it's the right opinion, I mean, and I'm not trying to like say, hey, don't listen to my opinion, but what I'm saying is just like to form your own opinion is the only way that you're really going to be able to make that best appropriate decision for yourself, right? And that's why I constantly share it. It's why I constantly read from those speeches, is because the more I read from them, the more you're going to internalize that, right? And not necessarily my opinions about it. That's important, right? And once you see it that way, then you're going to you're going to be able to see it for you're going to see it a lot clearer and make a lot better decisions about it. Maybe they're just in stopgap. If you want to be successful in life, then make sure that you're not in the 80%, but rather in the 20%. And Nathan, I agree with that, but you can't just make sure you're there. Like, what if the problem is that what if you are there? See, your advice is don't be there. And I'm like, oh yeah, no kidding, right? Duh. I agree, 100%, bro. I agree. But how do you not be there if you're already there? What if you're 40 years old and you're there? What if you're 40 years old right now? You got a wife who hates you. You got kids who are failing at school. You drink a massive amount every single day. And that's the life that you live. That's tough, bro. You know how hard of a situation that is to be in? You're not going to the 20% tomorrow. You're not going to even be there next year. Okay? Now, is there possibilities? Yeah, absolutely. The whole world is full of possibilities. Is there, could it happen? Yeah, right? Miracles, whatever. Yeah, I'm not saying that it isn't possible. What I'm saying is just like if you're drunk, 40 years old, failing kids, failing, life, failing everything around, you got a lot of work to do. Like you thought you were working hard before, you got a lot of work to do. You're not going to just get to the 20%. You know what 20% is for most people? It's earning over $100,000 a year. For some people earning $100,000 a year, they're like, doesn't everybody earn $100,000 a year? Like they literally think about it that way. Yeah, they literally do. They think, well, no, doesn't everybody earn 100,000? I was like, duh, yeah. Well, if you're in San Francisco, that might not be a lot of money. But if you're just about anywhere else in the world, including up here in Astoria, Oregon, $100,000 is a lot of money, right? And if you don't have $100,000 a year, you don't get to buy a house in Astoria. So, unfortunate for most people, they don't get to buy houses in Astoria. Not anywhere in Oregon, right? Nowhere, right? Oregon is not a place where people get to buy houses unless you have a lot of money, because the working class people simply aren't going to be able to afford it here. Right? It just doesn't work. I forgot where I was going with all that. I had a point at one point. What was it? Oh, the 20% thing. That's right. So trying to get into the 20%, I mean, you have to think it's going to be easiest if you're 18 years old getting started. And the reason why it's the best, easiest time at 18 years old, because no matter what you do, even if you absolutely fail 100% and lose everything and whatever it is you're doing, you're standing there like a nothing but the shirt on your back, and you are in your 20s, that's okay, because people are expecting that to happen, right? I mean, that is not something that is unusual when you're in your 20s to completely, utterly fail and miserably fail in such fashions, because that's kind of what 20-year-olds do. So if you could get started failing early to learn your lessons and at 18 years old and start picking up what it is that you need to do and get on the right course, so that by the time you get to 40 years old, you're not only in the top 20%, you're probably in the top 5. Yeah. That is very easily achieved with discipline and the ability to find a way to exist without having a lot of cost to your necessities of life. Renting an apartment, having a house, having cars, having girlfriends, having stuff like that, that's all expensive stuff, right? It's all expensive things. And starting businesses, being dedicated to your position at work, being mindful of where it is that you are placing your money as far as investments go, that's hard. That's discipline, and that's not easy to do. You do that for years. By the time you get up to 49 years old, you don't look at the world the same way. You're not even thinking about what it is that you can do for survival or anything like that. You're like doing quite well, right? I mean, because of how disciplined and how dedicated you were to the outcome. But if you're 40 years old and you're sitting in a position where you have no idea what you're going to do, and you're broke and you're in debt and you're drunk and you have a mean wife and you got messed up kids, and you're just looking at your world and it's a pathetic shithole of an existence, it's a tough road, right? And that's at some point, you know, you have to start asking yourself, why are you continuing on doing what you're doing? See, you must secretly love it. This is where I think a lot of people misunderstand their position in life. They don't realize that all the chaos that they have in their life, they secretly love it. They love it. See, a lot of times, like I had a friend one time, she tells me, she goes, "Why do I always get with these alcoholic boyfriends?" Right? And I'm like, "Well, didn't you grow up in an alcoholic household?" I said, "I grew up in an alcoholic household. Didn't you?" She was like, "Oh yeah, big time." And I'm like, you ever thought that maybe that's the familiar energy that you're used to? And that's what you associate with love, because that's what your family was alcoholics. So now the alcoholic being, even though you don't like the lying, the cheating, the stealing, the hateful things that come from it, the fighting, whatever, but the energy itself that comes from the alcohol is the familiar energy that you secretly love. You know how hard it was for them to hear that? Because that's the serious thing to take in. It's just like, I love these things that cause chaos and horribleness. Yep, you absolutely love it. That's how come you have it in your life. Otherwise, you wouldn't have it there. Okay? Everything that you have in your life that you find is negative or horrible or whatever, you secretly love. And there's something deep down inside that you have to recognize why it is that you do love it. Right? Even if you outwardly say that you hate it and intuitively know that you hate it, deep down inside, it's familiar energy that you secretly love. Uh, da, da. The chaos is familiar. Yeah. Greetings from Washington. I hope all is well. Everything is awesome, Eric. We're like all over the place today in this video. All right, Simon is the best self-help guru. Well, thank you, Deplorable. I'm just sharing again, like I just want to be clear on this. Like I am just somebody who is sharing my experiences and the things that I've learned over these years. Right? I am not somebody who's educated or a therapist or like knows anything about anything out there. And it's just my honest opinions and what it is that I've seen. All right. Later on in his life, he sold KFC for multi-millions of dollars and died a very rich man. Oh, you're talking old like Colonel Sanders there? Wasn't that dude a trip? Old man started a business and sold it off for millions of dollars. I actually know a guy who did that. He started a business at 50 years old and sold it off when he was 65. So 15 years later, yeah, he sold off that business. That business still exists. And the old man is still funny. He still works today. I couldn't believe it. This was like, I don't know, 20 years ago, man. I mean, the old man is still working. I don't think you'll ever get him to stop working. I think that's what keeps him going. Um, I love the story of the lady I know who came to town with a vacuum cleaner and a car. She started cleaning houses and got some commercial accounts and was able to build up a big giant clientele list and sold it for $100,000. Like to me, that was absolutely brilliant. I'm like, man, some people just know how to do it, you know? And I think about it, and then like she started a whole other business doing something completely different. It's just like I'm like, man, some people are just like entrepreneurs at heart. Like they just don't even like they don't even. She was just like, oh, I needed to do work, and so I had this vacuum, and I thought, well, whatever, you know. And I'm like, just thought, well, whatever, and built up $100,000 clientele list and sold it. You know, it's amazing, right? All right, Colonel Sanders also mentioned Dave Thomas, who was an orphan and a kid and helped him create Wendy's. Yeah. Anyone in the chat do carpet cleaning? I was considering going into that recently. I used to do that, Justin. I did something called dry. It was dry wash, and the company was actually it was pretty cool. We would I mean, I don't know, maybe it was a gimmick, but anyway, it was like, using buffer pads and scrubbing the carpets, and it did a pretty good job. We got all the stains up, and everybody's always looked good and, smelled real fresh and clean and everything. And it was a nice feature to have up here in the Pacific Northwest because, like, doing full on, like, drenching a carpet, it never dries up here. We get mold issues, and it's really bad. So doing a drier cleaning, where you buff and, like, use the chemical wash on the top, on the nap there, it worked out pretty well. And I did that for quite a few months. I did it with the guy, and we made a bunch of money doing it. I thought it was a great business. Yeah. Listen, I heard ChemDry, yeah, got started with that low moisture clean style. Yeah, it was something similar to that. And again, like, the guy I was working with, I didn't know much about it. He like really into his business there. And I was just kind of working with him, but we were, yeah, I mean, he paid me well, so they must have made a lot of money. All right. I sold a client list once. It was for that much. I think I got 10,000 for it, and then I started the same business again 2 years later. Yeah, see, now that's something that I thought about. I was just like, man, there's probably all kinds of things that you could do where you can build up a client. Like, I mean, I've heard of people doing that, but I never really thought like as a business. Like to me, I'm somebody who's like, okay, I work on houses, I can build things, I can, do YouTube kind of stuff. Like to me, I'm that sort of like idea. To me, the idea of like starting a business, not because you think it's a great business that you want to do, but because you think it's a business that's in need, that you can build up a clientele list, that you could sell that list off to somebody else who does want to do that business. Right? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, duh, man. There's so many more opportunities going that way. Like, I think of things that I want to do. I don't think of things that I like needs to be done, Like, I mean, I do. at times, but like for the most part, I think of things that I want to do. All right. Nice. Thank you for your input, Yui. Yeah, you bet, man. I once heard someone say that success is no lack. Well, that's just the thing. You can live in a scarcity mentality, and in a lot of ways, I think people are going to naturally do that just from the things that they desire in their life. Like if they are missing something that they are wanting in their life, they're going to have this natural desire and this feeling of lack. That right there is the reason why it doesn't exist, right? So you look at something that you do have an abundance in your life on, right? I don't know, like I don't know. I'm trying to use an example, like an everyday example of something, but I don't know. Like somebody, you know that there's something out there that you have in your existence that you just have an abundance to. You know, like okay, say for example, you got one person who has like all the ability to go to the beautician. Her friend does it, has like all this access to it, right? You know, can do it herself. And her friends, they play around with her shop or whatever, and they have all this access to do all this cosmetic stuff, and that's a lot of fun for them. Okay, then you got another guy who has an auto mechanic. All right, he's got a mechanic shop, and you and your buddy, man, he lets you just use his shop whenever you want. You can do whatever. You use the lift, use the tools, use whatever you need to on the shop. You have access to all that, right? Well, if her car breaks down, it's going to be a nightmare for her, right? And if this dude needs to clean up, he needs to pay for it, right? So now this is like how you can think about the abundance. Like one guy, he doesn't think about being in a shortage of being a mechanic and tools and having the ability to work on his cars. Like I think about it, it's just like if I need a particular tool, I got to think if somebody might have it or whatever. I'm in a shortage of having that particular tool to work on the car. Well, just like anything else, if you need to clean up and get dressed up and go out for the night or going to go get some family photographs done, you're going to need to go get a professional haircut done. And most likely, I mean, you might find somebody out there who knows how to do it, and then you might have a friend who will do it, but most likely you're going to have to pay somebody to get that done. So, again, thinking about the abundance that you're in, regardless of how simple it may be, is a good way of understanding how it is that you can feel it, because the guy who has the access to that garage doesn't think about it. And those girls who have access to that shop and they're playing around and having fun getting ready to go out for the night, they're not thinking about the abundance that they have there either. But if her car is broken down, she is certainly thinking of the lacking of a mechanic, right? And if this dude needs to get cleaned up, he's thinking, man, it's going to cost me money to have to do that. So it's easy to understand how it is that you are living in abundance. Just think about the thing that you have in abundance and think about how you feel about it. You have very little thought about it. It's just something as if it just is in your world. And that's just the way it is. It's just in your world, just like everything else is. There is nothing in your world that is not like that. Everything is there. There is nothing out there that doesn't belong to you or you don't have access to. Everything is available. It's all in abundance. How you feel about it is the difference. When I see somebody come in to buy something from me at the hardware store, they're going to come in, they're going to buy a deck package off of me. I'm not thinking about them giving me their money. It's not even a thought. Like it doesn't even come across my mind about them giving me any money. Like that's the goal. But it never crosses my mind. Not one little bit. And in fact, the importance of the sale itself, if they don't want to buy, that's fine. There's somebody right behind them that's going to come up and they're going to want to buy it, right? There's an abundance of customers out there. So when this customer comes in and I'm not thinking about the money and I'm not even really caring whether or not the sale goes through, what I care about is providing them with an honest price, with a good quality product in a reasonable amount of time. That's my goal, right? It's to be useful and helpful. And by being useful and helpful, that sale goes right through. I don't think about a shortage. I don't think about anything of lacking, none of that stuff. And so when that sale goes through, I don't think anything about how it is that happened. It just naturally occurs for me. But I've seen new salesmen who come in who put a lot of importance on it. And they start to get very nervous about it. And they don't know if they're answering the questions right. And they don't know if they're doing the right pricing on it. And they just get all this nervous and they may end up losing the sale on account of it. It's because they lived in a lacking mentality. It was a scarcity mentality. I'm going to lose the customer. Oh, no. Well, who cares? Right? I mean, yeah, it sucks that you lose a customer. You don't want to lose any customers. You want all the customers. There's going to be times when they walk out, right? It's just going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. There's, people are just people. But once you understand that there is no shortage, that there is always an abundance, that there is never lacking, and when you feel the lacking, you feel the negative energy that comes with it. And so knowing that nothing out there exists that doesn't exist in an abundance. It all is out there. My buddy, he had the best way of looking at it. He did. He really had it down to just a simple way of describing it. He picked up his cell phone. He says, "You ever seen one of these?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "You can get anything you want off of this, right?" And I thought, yeah. He says, "You just need to ask it the right questions." And he put it back down. And I thought to myself, you're right. That phone has access to the entire world. You have access to the entire world. The entire world is full of stuff, full of all the things that you could ever have possibly wanted. All the experiences, all the material possessions, all the success, all the wealth, all the stuff, everything. It's all out there for the taking. The problem that most people end up facing is that they have a scarcity mentality and a limitation and a lacking, a scarcity, a feeling of distance, not realizing it's right there. They just literally have to be in the position of receiving it. And understanding that the position of receiving or being in it is literally like the dude who has access to the mechanic, to the garage, or the girl whose friend owns the shop. Feeling that abundance of just no scarcity at all. It's not a feeling that they carry that says, I have this particular feeling of abundance. It's almost as if it doesn't exist at all. Right? All right. Good, fun, long live stream. God, we rambled on tonight, didn't we? We got 107 people watching with 99 likes. Not the most popular one, but it's definitely popular amongst the comment section. All right. You should not start a skyscraper on sand. Yeah. Bullet Tray 2 probably be there next year. Buy silver platinum and crystallized osmium. I still haven't figured out what that crystallized osmium is. Alright, what up, Neil? Cells be damned. Full speed ahead. Where do you buy metals? Oh, Neil's asking Neil's that. Okay, I sell strawberries for a living, going from business to business, house to house, and I've never think about the money, Simon, never. Before I used to, and it didn't occur as often. Now money is flowing. Well, and that's just the thing. When you think it's there, when you think it's there, then it's there. It's like it's literally you're not even thinking about it being there. It is just like you're like the way I kind of look at it is just like, can you imagine just like somebody serving sodas at a fair, right? That person is not wondering if there's money in the pockets of the people at the fair, right? There's no guessing that. Everybody has money in their pocket at the fair because they gone to the fair where you have to spend money. That's the point of going to the fair, right? So if you're like serving cups of soda and you have this feeling that this person may or may not be willing to give you money because they have it or don't have it, think about that energy that you would be carrying. It would be really messed up. Like it would be hard to like try and sell sodas if you were going to just like, hey sir, are you in a position in which that a soda would be refreshing for you today? Right? Like, I mean, it's just like that. Nobody does that. It was just like, how many you want? Yeah, they're $5 a piece. Yeah, $5. Like it was like because I know you have it because everybody has it. You ain't got it. That guy behind you does. So get out of the way. Right? That's like a whole different attitude to have. Not saying that you should have a negative attitude. I'm just saying like the confidence behind it is knowing that if you ain't got it, that person does. Get out of the way. There's money out there, right? And that's where I think a lot of times people end up losing this idea of the abundance. Like just think about it being at the fair. Like everybody at the fair is there to spend money and it's not a guess on why. Yeah. And just like you're like at the fair. Right? Everything out there is ready, Not everything are you going to be able to do, but everything out there is available. Uh a lot of wisdom here tonight, man. I was meant to hit the hay already, but the content is keeping me locked in. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I know this was a deep one, and we're going to cut it here in about now. I don't know, right? Because I'm getting tired myself. But I just thought it was important to kind of come out here and just kind of give it a different thought when it comes to a lot of the information that we're getting. Especially when I find the comment section and I realize how many people are giving the meaning such a negative view that their success is literally going to be such a small degree because of the negative failing attitude that they have about things. Understanding that the situation is not great, right? It's not good. It's not pleasurable. It's not awesome. But it is also one that you can deal with because there's people out there who are dealing with it right now and they're doing quite well. So when somebody says, oh, it's a failure, it's a complete miserable thing, and all this horribleness is happening, I was just like, no, I agree with that. But, there are those people over here who are absolutely kicking ass right now, too. You want to go talk to them, right? Because, I mean, dang, you're miserable and not have anything, and you think the world is going to end, and there's people over here going, hey, man, what's the next step to doing the right thing? So, you can kind of just take that energy for yourself and say, okay, well, yeah, one of them's negative, and it's a lot of fun to talk about and debate and, have a conversation about this, but really, these guys over here are actually progressing and doing stuff with their life. So, maybe I'll take on some of that. Uh, uh, oh man, I can hardly see. What does that say? The bushes, one gave berries and roses. Thorn bushes. Oh, yeah. This is what gives berries and roses. Yeah, I get it. All right. Right. If I do, I'll report back. I remember reading somewhere about sales, and the guy basically said that if you sell problems for people, they will give you their money. Someone's problems, they will give you their money. Yeah, solve somebody's problems, and they'll give you the money. Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it. I mean, everybody comes in wanting something in their life, right? Very few people are going to wander around this world saying, "No, I'm good. I don't need not a thing." Not a thing ever, not from anybody, from anyone ever, because I never get hungry and I never want anything to drink and I never sleep and I never wear clothes and right, that doesn't exist. So you know that it's going to be somewhat of an experience in which that you're going to have to understand that relying on other people is how this economy really functions. Right? And it's not necessarily relying on them to say, man, I'm relying on you to be for my success. It's relying on them to have the opportunity to do the best that they can so that you can take advantage of their situation that they have been providing for you, right? Like if they are able to produce a lot of wool, you get to take advantage of having a lot of wool in your life. And that's just really what it comes down to if you think about it simply like that. So for me, when I think about the negative attitude that a lot of people have out there towards things, I'm thinking, well, you're not one who's really wanting to produce, you're not one to progress, and you're not one to really benefit from the current situation. You're really looking for fear mongering scared, depressed people to join in on that power pendulum to help your ego feel right about the situation, knowing that it's hopeless for you, right? And it's an unfortunate consequence for them. So take it on with a different attitude, take it on with a different belief system. That's what we end up with. Guys, I am going to go because it is late and I'm tired. We have 105 people watching with 107 likes. I love it when I see more likes than we have people watching. This was kind of an odd one here tonight. Didn't really do too much in economics, but more about just personal growth and idea about what it is that you need to do. Understanding that, each one of us has to take on our own position for ourselves so that we can make that best appropriate, decision. But it's not easy when there's so many people out there who want to throw out negative attitudes and negative, belief systems. Even when the evidence of it is so negative, you don't necessarily have to give it that sort of meaning behind it, and that you can actually use that information or whatever it is that you're finding out there to benefit your life and to say, hey man, I need to use this to actually be in a better position. When you start looking at it like that, you can start realizing that you're always in a constant state of success. It's just different levels of success, the different degrees of it. Failure can be successful. When you learn from your failures, that's a successful thing that took place from it. And the more you do that, the more success you're actually going to find from it. So to me, just living in an abundance of success, that everything is successful, just look how successful I am today. Yeah, and that's all you have to say to yourself. I mean, I'm not trying to say that to you. I'm saying that to myself when I look back at what I was just 9 years ago to where I am today. Now, for somebody else, they might look at me and say, hey, man, you're not that successful. There's so many more people out there who've done so much better. And I'm like, yeah, for them, maybe. They may not even feel successful, but I feel successful. And so therefore I am. And, and this is the way I kind of look at life. And I think that if other people were to look at it this way as well, they would probably find a lot more success taking place. Alrighty, guys. This was fun. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.